Hey y'all, in this video we're going to be covering something called the sacrifice throw. It has a really fancy Japanese name that I don't know. This is something that I learned that I thought was a really neat kind of a last-ditch effort, but a really good throw if you can pull it off. It's called a sacrifice throw because in order to do it, you have to actually fall yourself. But the impact is primarily going to be on your opponent, assuming you do the takedown correctly. Some important things to note about this is you have to really understand where your opponent's body weight is positioned in order to be able to do the throw effectively. If you don't, you're going to throw yourself and they're going to stand there and look at you and probably laugh before they step on you. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we understand where our opponent's body weight is and we understand where our body weight is supposed to go. Essentially what we're doing is using our entire body weight to fold our opponent in half so that they have to fall forward. Now, the risk here, if they fall forward and you've done this incorrectly, is that they end up in a top position on you. So again, it's one of those things that you have to understand your opponent's movement along with their body weight in order to do it. We're going to do this from a high clench today. I'm going to show you on the left side so that you can kind of see, and then I'll show you again on the right side. So here we are, high clench. We're going to go this side up, okay? So if you don't remember a high clench, he's got his hand around here. If he's doing a really great clench, it's going to be up on my skull. But for the purposes of training this technique, we're going to go to the neck, okay? It's a little bit safer on everybody's necks. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go here. Now we're going to take this other hand and we're going to grab either right here on the elbow or back here on the wrist or something like this, and we're really close here. At this point, we're trying to get control of each other's body weight. Notice that both of us are standing pretty vertical right now. Unless we're throwing a whole bunch of knees, that's really not how it's going to go. We're really going to be kind of more in this wrestling stance. We've got one leg back. We've got our knees bent here. Our weight is centered over the hips mostly, but it's a little forward. Because if I were to stand straight up, all he would have to do is just drive straight through me, and I'm going to fall down. So when we're dealing with this clinch and a wrestling situation, we want to have our weight slightly forward. Now, from here, all I'm going to do, if I'm realizing, hey, nothing's working, maybe he's, popping up and throwing a bunch of kicks to the body or knees to the body or punches to the head or something, I'm kind of getting my tail end kicked here and I don't want to. So I'm going to actually take this hand and release it. From here, I'm going to dive up here and wrap as tightly around the shoulder as I can. I don't want to be down here on the elbow because it gives him too much room. I want to go way up here on the shoulder. I'm going to hug it as tightly as I can. I'm trying to wrap my bicep on this side of his shoulder and the forearm right here on this side. This is going to pull to my chest. I'm going to hug it like my life depends on it because it kind of does. From here, what I'm going to do is actually slide this foot up like I'm doing a kick, like a front kick. And this foot's going to kick in and sit down. So I'm going to do this number, okay? It's just almost like a skip from your skipping side kick or skipping round kick. So from here, I'm going to go boom. Now, that's the setup. What actually happens is you're going to drop in here. You're going to kick this leg out, boom, and you're going to sit. And as you do, you're going to rotate slightly. It's not a huge rotation. If you try to make it a big turn, you just end up on your face with them on your back, and it's a bad day. We don't want to do that. So you actually want to drop almost straight down. The goal is to sit on their feet. Now, unfortunately, because their bodies lean forward, his feet are kind of behind him a little bit. This kick allows me to move my rear end toward him a little bit. Now, I don't really want to sit on his knees, mostly for the safety of my training partner, but I also don't want him to just pick me up and carry me around because I sit on his knees. It'd be weird, okay? So instead, I'm here, and I'm going to sit, boom, on his feet. So I'm going to show you this again. I'm going to show it to you from the right side so you can kind of see my body motion here. I'm actually going to throw Mr. Jackson this time. So from the high clench, are you ready, Mr. Jackson?
Sir.
From the high clench, I'm pulling him forward a little bit. His weight has to be forward in order for me to do this takedown. If his weight's back, I can't do it. His weight has to be here. Now from here, I release, I shoot, I kick, and rotate. Your rotation happens after they lose their balance. It's really, really critical that you don't rotate early, and I'll show you why. So, Jackson, let's do that again from this direction here. If I get in here and I rotate really early, well, crud. Now I got problems, okay? I don't want to be there. So you have to rotate after they've lost their balance. One more time through this. Let's make it a little bit more live here, okay? So we're going to wrestle a little bit. If his weight's going back, I can't do this. I have to wait for his weight to come forward. And there we go. It is my weight dropping that causes him to fall. I'm not pulling him in a rotational motion. It won't work. My weight has to drop completely with all of my weight hanging off his shoulder. If he was a lot bigger, I would just like hop up and have him hold me up there, but I don't want to smash Jackson's shoulder, so he might not appreciate that. So I'm literally just hanging my entire body weight and then falling on my rear. He is going to resist that to an extent, which is what's going to keep me from hitting the ground too hard. When you pull on somebody, they automatically want to pull back. He's not going to be able to overcome that in the time frame that I have to drop. But when you start training this, you're going to be really scared that, oh, I'm going to hit the floor really hard. The resistance that he's going to apply as he's trying not to fall actually softens my strike on the floor. When I hit at about half my normal falling rate. So don't be afraid to actually go ahead and drop your weight on this. A great way to practice this is to literally get up against a wall, maybe something padded. If you come in before class, you can use the fluffy mat. Just get up against a wall, put your shoulder and your hip against the wall, stick your foot out and slide down the wall and just get used to that motion. You're not really gonna get the rotation that you're gonna need, but at least you get used to this drop. If you're gonna do that, please make sure you're not gonna mess up any paint or drop any pictures off the wall, because you are gonna put some impact on the wall as you do that. All right, guys, there is your sacrifice throw. Keep training, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next video.